Cameras rolling.
Rolling.
We are chilling.
Chilling.
Podcast pod. What is this
Podcast
number?
pod.
The porch side podcast. Porch side pod, whatever you want to call it. The porch pod. The pord. That's how new words are invented, Jared.
Wow.
Chuckle all you want.
You're a modern day Shakespeare.
That's right.
Is that what they call him? Shakespeare? Where's that
That's
from?
what they can call me. I don't know what they call him.
Okay.
You know, the past tense of Shakespeare would be would I was Shakespeared.
Shakespeare. I thought it was Shakespeare.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. English is a confusing language, Jared. You know, there are a lot of varieties and dialects.
That's true.
What's right and what's wrong, it's hard to...
I still sometimes fumble a little bit with eaten and drunk versus drank.
Oh, yeah. Drank and drunk, yeah.
Yeah, those kind of throw me off sometimes. I know how to say I was drunk, though. I do know how to say that. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm already
Should
recording.
I start the... I mean, I figured you were, but I figured
sneaking up on you, trying to give you some gems before you even knew it.
You're learning.
Right. Not ahead of the curve, but trying to catch up to the curve.
See, if we
George.
hadn't done that, we wouldn't have gotten you saying podcast pod or whatever
That's
it is
true.
you said.
That's true.
All right, here we go.
And people will forever question my ability now to be an English language teacher, so thank you very much, Jared. Getting that music.
Enable track header.
That's right. It's all enabled. We're recording both tracks. Turn the mic and the headphones up. It's already turned up because we're ready to go. Episode 208. Hope you're ready. We're sitting here baking in the hot sun for you, but it's definitely worth it and we're happy to be here. So stay tuned for a great episode. Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 208, and today we are going to talk about Karens. So you may be wondering, what is a Karen? Stay tuned. We're going to happily explain that to you. And hopefully, if any of you listening are a current Karen, we can help you reform your Karen ways because we need less Karens in this world, not more. And I apologize to all the lovely people out there who are named Karen and are not actually Karens, the type of Karens we are talking about today. Sadly, their names have been dragged through the mud, Jared. I can relate to it a little bit as a Chad. There's lots of jokes and things about Chads out there. If you just Google Chad memes, I'm sure you won't be disappointed. So I have a little bit of empathy for those innocent Karens out there, but we're not talking about the innocent Karens today, Jared, that's for sure. So the guy who's going to bring us all the important information, facts, and key questions, my partner in crime, my good buddy Jared. What's going on, Jared?
That's big of you, Chad. Hello. It's great to be back on the porch, by the way. It was actually, weirdly enough, nice and overcast. Literally right up until we hit record, and then the sun just bust out, and it's blasting on my face. But I love it. I love being on the porch. That is very big of you to recognize that. And also, it's good that you said that, where it's like, we're not just insulting people named Karen. Honestly, most of these people probably aren't even named Karen. But it has now been adopted as a term to reference a certain kind of person. Mm-hmm. And you definitely have a lot of experience with that. And I feel like your name's gone through cycles. Like early on, it used to, like back in maybe the early 2000s, it was more just like a sort of a ditzy skateboarder guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Surfer bro, skater bro.
Yeah. And
dude bro.
I think frat bros kind of come into play a little bit, and then also just a general. Now you're just the general bad white dude name.
Yep.
Like this is it's sort of it's like this is the problem with it's like these Chads.
So I motivates me to try to be one of those better Chads. Jared.
That's fix it from within. That's makes perfect sense. You're trying to improve your not sully the Chad name. I should have brought a mouse. That would have really helped the situation. Yeah. Usually I do too, and I never use it, and this is the first time I didn't bring one. Please, everyone, though, check out our porch podcasting, or as Chad called it, something. I forgot what he called it.
I was trying to speak some Swedish or Danish to get warmed up for the Untranslatables later, Jared.
Please follow us on Untranslatable 1 on Twitter, the number 1. Follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. You'll see our beautiful porch podcasting faces. You can also send us an email, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com, and check us out on YouTube. We're on YouTube. Well, we've been on YouTube this whole time, so there's nothing new, but we're still there. And then, of course,
Пожалуйста.
those 5-star reviews, please, would be very nice. Hey, dude, I don't know how close you pay attention to social media, but it's been a busy week.
It has been.
I've just been like writing stuff down as it's been happening, and I want to go through some of these things that have really caught my eye. Now, we can save some for next episode too, but did you hear that after 131 years, Pepsi Company, who owns Quaker Oats, is it Quaker Oats? Pepsi Company owns Aunt Jemima syrup, and they are finally getting rid of that name, and they are retiring the name. Oh, first of all, this is a perfect story for today. Happy June 19th. Juneteenth. Today is Friday. Usually we record on a Saturday, but
changing it up.
I took the day off today. I thought
we really dropped the ball. We should have done a Juneteenth episode.
Yeah, I mean, is that what you'd like to talk about? A whole episode about slavery?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know enough about it to give listeners, I think, an hour's worth of listenable material.
What I can tell you about Juneteenth is it is the day that slavery was abolished, June 19th, 1865.
Yeah, I think Lincoln, didn't he put out the proclamation in 63, and then it took 2 years, and then it was in Texas, right? In Texas.
See, you know more than me.
Really? I don't know.
Well, how about for the sake of everyone,
Google it.
Pull up.
We do have
Juneteenth,
internet,
and let's talk about it. All I know is if we get 4th of July off, which we do, which is the independence of the United States. In my mind, it only makes sense that I then get I should probably celebrate my own independence as well.
Oh, for sure.
Not just my own, but a large portion of society's independence in the
United
United
States. Americans,
yeah.
So Juneteenth, the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States, dating back, as you said, Jared, to 1865. It was on June 19th that the Union soldiers led by Major General Gordon Granger landed at Galveston, Texas, with news that the war had ended and that the enslaved were now free. Now, can you imagine that, though, Jared? That the cavalry rides into town and they're like, all right, slavery is no more. Well, how does that work?
What do you even do?
Right.
It's like these people literally have no life. Their identity has been taken away from them as humans. And it's like, and also, I think it also is a little bit of a misnomer because it's not like then all the slaves were just like, man, fuck you, and just
right,
and just gave him the finger and walked off. I'm sure maybe that happened at some points, but they're like, obviously it's more complicated than that. Right. But yeah, I was like, what is? It's like I don't even know how I don't even understand how someone could fully comprehend. It's like, and honestly, if I were in that position, I feel like I'd first be like, this can't, I don't know if I believe this. Like, I'm going to leave and then get killed or something. Like, it's like this, there's got to be a catch here.
Yeah, seems very sketchy.
But it's sad that someone tells you, hey, you're no longer legally allowed to be a slave. And it's like, I don't trust this.
Right.
But that is probably how I would feel. It's like, this has got to be some sort of trap or something.
Oh, for sure. Well, and I think if you've been stuck in, if you've been enslaved for that long and then it's just like a drop of a hat, right? That's not how not how life
they
works.
Own nothing.
Right.
They have no way to
no education,
buy a place to live.
Right. A lot of them weren't able to learn how to read or write.
Yeah.
I mean,
they can't just get a job now at an office.
Right. They can't just go on Google and type in, jobs near me and find something. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's great though that I think people should celebrate Juneteenth. I think it should be taught more in schools.
Yeah, like that never even came up in my history classes all through elementary, middle school, and high school. It's like, how is this not even mentioned?
Right, and it should be.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of events in history that we aren't really very aware of.
And it's weird that in sort of people's fear of reconciling with like the past of slavery in this country, like it's weird that is so strong. Where it's like this is something to be proud of for everyone.
Right,
and
absolutely.
It's like it's so but. To be proud of it, you also have to recognize the history, which I think so many people are afraid to do, and it's kind of a bummer,
right.
Because I think logically speaking, even for like white people, not like conservatives that are that still seem to be racist, it's like this still is like a positive thing. Right,
I would say so,
and so I don't know. I find it interesting, but my company is doing a 8-minute and 46-second moment of silence for George Floyd today. They did it this morning. And I thought that was great, but I took it a step further, and I took the day off. And I think from here on out, until it is a day off, I'm probably gonna make a point to take the day off.
Take Juneteenth off. That's smart.
And
it is a national, not national. It's a recognized holiday in some places.
Some states or cities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you know which ones?
I can find out for you.
So like some states actually get this day off. That'd be That's interesting. I didn't even know that. I do know though some states choose not to recognize Martin Luther King Day, and it's like, I mean, look, even for the free day off, right? Like, why would you do this to yourself? It's like, no. We don't want to recognize this so much. We rather go to work and then get a day off and say that MLK was an important figure in American history.
Right. Yeah, we're having some lag on the internet here, Jared, unfortunately.
Well, we can bring that up, but I just want to mention the reason that I even thought about Juneteenth being today, besides for the fact that I'm here on a Friday, which is weird. I keep forgetting that today's Friday, is...
oh, interesting. There was a decline in Juneteenth celebrations in the early 1900s. And then in the 50s it resurged, but then it sees like it declined a little bit again, and now it is starting to have a resurgence again.
So you're saying that people like states voted to not make it a holiday anymore, then they voted that it was a holiday. Like, is it voting that's doing this, or is it just a...
It doesn't say on the website here if it's based on voting or what it was.
That's so interesting that would... Why is is it going back and forth like that? That's so weird.
Yeah.
There's like moments of moments. Well, let's do some Juneteenth news then.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about PepsiCo's decision to stop using the Aunt Jemima character on the syrup?
I did read that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Aunt Jemima is essentially like a... Well, it's not essentially. It's 100% a
house slave.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it's like a stereotype of like this, like this sort of happy-go-lucky large black woman is a very popular stereotype. It's sort of a blackfacey stereotype too. But it is. It is. I don't know. See, I don't know the history to the point like what she specifically.
For those people that don't know, blackfacey stereotypes are bad stereotypes.
Yeah, like it's essentially used as a parody of a black person.
Right.
And she's just been used as this character on the syrup for forever. And there's actually, it's so funny. I put it into my notes that I always make for this podcast. I put this picture in before you sent it to me, and then I laughed when you sent it to me. I was like, oh, he found it, and I was sad to have to delete it out of my notes and that I couldn't show it to you first. But there was a picture, Chad, you sent me of what they should change it to, and it said that they should change it to Aunt Karen, and it was the classic. Yeah. We'll start off with one of the classic Karens from a few years ago that called the police on a family for not having a permit. Yep. And she even had the classic OtterBox that seemed so Karen-y. Yep. You know what I love about these things, like these exposures today? The cameras are so good.
Yep.
So this picture they have of this woman is like an HD
crystal
picture.
Clear, yeah.
I love that.
Technology, man.
Another one I saw was R.I.P. Taco Bell. I needed to get your opinion on this.
Wait, what?
R.I.P. Taco Bell.
Is Taco Bell going under?
No. The company, well, not yet. The company, as far as I know, financially is doing fine. But there was a so you know about Starbucks. They put out the little note. Well, anyway, let's not talk about Starbucks. Taco Bell, much like a lot of the companies, put out the little "We support." What do you? Oh, I thought you were looking at something.
No, I'm just looking at you.
We
You're
support
good.
Black Lives Matter message beforehand. You know, when all the protests were really hot. They're still happening, by the way, just to be clear. But, you know, when it was top of the news kind of thing, they put out their note. And so a black Taco Bell employee put out a couple days ago last week, it was maybe Thursday or Wednesday, doesn't matter, put out a video of him being fired for having a Black Lives Matter mask.
Uh-oh.
And his manager or whatever, she sounded like a Karen, speaking of which.
Ooh.
Not to
the Karen
profile.
has become what she wanted to destroy. Can I speak to the manager?
But yeah, she is the manager.
Right. maybe that's why she wants to be the manager.
Oh, that's hilarious. They're destroying themselves. The very fabric of Karen is busting at the seams. But what was it? Oh, so she was saying that like you can like you're not allowed to make it like she's like, no, I support I support Black Lives Matter. I think it's great, but you're not allowed to make political statements. It's just you're not. He's like, it's
that's not a political statement. Yeah.
He's like I'm supporting. He's like what are you talking about? And that's essentially what he was saying.
Right.
And she's like, I know. She's like, listen, I support it, but you can't.
You can't fire somebody if you support it.
And then I think
that's ridiculous.
On it there was also like like the Black Fist, that's sort of like the cartoonized ones that you've probably seen before.
Right.
And she was saying that like, I don't know, but it's that's a big statement. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then people in the comments were like, well, there's nothing wrong with supporting Black Lives Matter, but why do you have to have that aggressive Black Power fist? And so there's always something, Chad. Yeah. Why is it that they always got to find something? But anyway,
that's the thing about Karens, man. They're never pleased. But
sure,
we'll talk more about that later. Before we get into that,
I want to talk about so now people are saying R.I.P. Taco Bell, and people were
makes sense.
The Taco Bell is over party is what I also saw that was trending.
That's funny.
And so I just want to know if are you willing to give up Taco Bell, Chad?
Give up Taco Bell forever.
Yep.
Oh man.
Now, Ashley, let me be fair. I understand
that's a big.
I'm really asking you. In the past couple of episodes, I've really just asked you to just like dismantle everything you know about your life.
I do love Taco Bell.
Let me see, because to be fair, this was obviously just one place.
Right.
This is not Taco Bell corporate.
Well, let me ask you this, Jared.
Taco Bell just came out with the comments.
Oh, what'd they say?
See, that's the thing. I
don't know.
This happened a few days ago. This happened a few days ago, and I kept going back to Taco Bell to see if they were commenting on it. And
doing your
17
due diligence,
hours ago,
I like it.
They have commented on it. This happened in Youngstown, Ohio. By the way. We are deeply upset by the incident that took place in Youngstown, Ohio. Denzel Skinner should never have been put in this position. That was the employee. We believe the Black Lives Matter movement is a human rights issue and not a political one. We do not tolerate racism or violence against the Black community, and we demand inclusivity. We know we still have a long way to go, and we will make serious, tangible changes. We have been in conversations with Denzel and our franchisees to make sure our actions represent our words. We will hold ourselves accountable. Now, what do you think?
I'm going to say the same thing I've said. I'm sorry to be a broken record here, Jared, but same thing I've said the other couple episodes. I think it's great when companies do some of these things, but put your money where your mouth is. We'll see if they actually, what are they actually doing?
Sure.
Are they really doing something to be more inclusive? Did they, are they really going to, do things to make this right? It's hard to say. That's the thing, Jared.
Now and I agree with you, because I just want to say I'm surprised that they commented. They say what happened to Denzel.
Surprised they didn't fire the Karen manager.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They did say that what happened to Denzel wasn't right, but they made no comment on the other woman that was the instigator.
Right.
And what are you going to do about that?
Right.
And if you do support inclusivity so much, then shouldn't you fight against exclusivity?
Right. Yeah. You can't be inclusive and just sit around anymore, Jared.
By the way,
what
did you see that?
What? No.
Your neighbor just walked into the backyard and he was about to ask us to help.
Oh, really?
But I think he saw us talking and he walked away. But I like looked, and as I saw him, I'm like, all right, don't make eye contact.
Oh.
Chad's neighbor asked for our help to carry in a bunch of his groceries, but like he doesn't socially distance, and also we're recording a podcast, and so I just pretended like I didn't see him. Luckily, we're on a deck anyway.
Right.
So I think that
I feel a little guilty about that, but it's also like, dude, why are you like? I don't know, man. It's tough. Like
it's a weird position. I
want to help my neighbor 100%, but we have a limited time for you somewhat. You know? And at the same time, it's like I didn't organize this party. I didn't I don't know.
But I think he saw the microphones, and I think that worked. So yeah. I think that statement, personally for me, I'm not a Taco Bell goer.
Right.
So sure. I actually hashtag boycott Taco Bell. I'm boycotting Taco Bell. I haven't gone to Taco Bell in the past 10 years. So this is a very easy boycott for me.
I think I went a week and a half ago.
Okay. But I think that note is good enough, I guess. But it is weird to me that they didn't comment on the Karen.
We'll see what they do.
Hashtag comment on the Karen with the K.
Right. Oh, there we go. Yeah. The other thing is, though, too, speaking of social media, Jared, I've been seeing a lot of people posting also against Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, but that's been going on forever.
Yeah.
For a new reason?
Just the fact that they donate very actively to LGBTQ community stuff. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend that loves Chick-fil-A and feels bad about going there, and occasionally will donate to the ACLU just if they go like a few times.
I would just rather go to Popeyes.
I think Popeyes is better, but I love waffle fries. I love waffle fries.
Yeah,
all right, I have one more Juneteenth story for you. One more. Did you know Beethoven is black?
No. What?
There's been a whole bunch of talk about how Beethoven's black. Apparently he was a Moor.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know the full story, but I just want to know if you knew Beethoven was black, because there's been a lot of talk about how he was a Moor and how people's minds are blown about how he was black, and they sort of took that away from him once he became a prolific, amazing artist.
Really? I didn't know that.
Listen, this is Twitter news, just to be clear.
Okay.
This is Twitter news.
Is Twitter news above or below meme news?
I'm going to say it's above.
Okay.
Because at least you know who's saying some of the things that are being said.
So if it's from Candace Owens, you're probably taking it with a grain of salt, maybe.
Candace Owens would never admit that someone as great as Beethoven was black. Only something that great could come from a white man. That's what Candace Owens would say.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think he definitely could be. I wonder, though, why they've never painted him that way, but then again, look how they paint Jesus.
Sure.
So I guess it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And also, like, people insisting that Santa Claus is white when he's just a full-on made-up character.
Right. Yeah, Santa Claus can be any color. It doesn't matter. And you know what? Maybe he is different colors if he's going to different places.
Sure.
Who knows?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, why? Let kids think what they want to think, you know?
Yeah.
Like if it's stuff like that. Yeah.
But it blew my mind to hear that people. It was just so funny to see people talking about Beethoven as black, and the Moor, I don't really understand what the Moor is, but I do know. And anytime you're reading about like a book from the olden days and you see Moors, I kind of just replace that with black.
Yeah, I think it. I don't remember where the origins are, but yeah, they say some can be traced back to the Middle East, some to Africa.
So they thought it was like a specific kind of black person.
I think.
Okay.
I'm no expert on this, Jared.
Right.
I'm
right.
definitely no expert on this.
No, of course not.
For sure. I'm actually gonna take these headphones off because they're
all right.
They're a little uncomfortable. Anyways, though, I think it's time that we.
Oh yeah, sure. Spread a little love. I'm with you.
All right. Yeah, I want to talk about some shout outs. So my first one, Jared, have you heard what's been going on with the Supreme Court lately?
I have, yeah. I was actually going to say that for next episode, but we can easily talk about it right now.
Well,
You've already brought it up.
Let's do a little teaser. We can talk more in depth about it in the next episode. But the Supreme Court has made a couple pretty exciting votes on some important issues. They voted. The first one was LGBTQ, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That you cannot be fired at work for being gay.
Yeah.
Trans.
It's hilarious to me. Not hilarious. It's actually pathetic that we're in 2020. We're trying to decide if you're allowed to discriminate against people for their
sexual orientation and their gender,
and even the fact that we claim to be the USA, but we're still be like, are we allowed to discriminate on about this? Right. But it's like, but I thought this was a free country.
There's no reason why you should be able to discriminate at a job. Shouldn't matter what your sexual orientation is, your religion, your race, any of that stuff.
It's like, are they doing the job?
Exactly. Are they good work or are they doing the job well?
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's great. So that's super awesome. The other law that I saw was
DACA.
Yeah.
DACA. So they're not allowed to. Yeah, they're not allowed to deport a bunch of people that are here on I believe it was a Obama era thing.
I think so. Yeah.
And it was essentially allowing people to come here for short periods of time. I don't know exactly what DACA fully is about.
It's right. All I know is I think it's people who came here legally and then illegally, and they came here legally or illegally, and then I think their parents stay here, and then I'm trying to think what. Oh, sorry. I'm getting distracted.
Yeah, I'm distracted by
getting
him too. I'm so afraid.
All right, I'm putting the headphones back on.
Yeah, so then we can have an excuse for it. He's it's essentially it is Dreamer. So is it like I don't see. Listen, I don't fully know what it is. I can fully admit ignorance, but I do know it involves deciding whether to deport people that are not technically American citizens but are here on I don't know.
Yeah, they're not here. They're not here illegally, or they were born here, no, I think if you're born here, aren't you a U.S. citizen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I'm not really sure. But either way, they can't be deported, which I think is a good thing. I was actually surprised to see that, considering how many conservative Supreme Court judges we have.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that on both of them, too.
There were some funny memes going around, like, thank you, not you, for, like, the ones that didn't vote for it. But I'm not surprised.
Do they show, when they do these Supreme Court decisions, do they show who voted for and against? Like, do they? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can easily find that.
Okay.
Yeah. As it should be. I mean, that should all be public information.
Of course.
Without a doubt.
I agree.
Without a doubt.
I agree.
That was my first shout out. I have one more, I think. Let me see if I can find it. Yes. Gonna give a big shout out to Scotland.
Okay.
Because they have actually vowed and voted to end the export of tear gas, rubber bullets, and riot gear to the U.S.
Brilliant.
I'm going to be honest with you. Why do we need tear gas? Why do we need rubber bullets? Why do we need all this stuff?
Yeah, especially since they're not even used the rubber bullets aren't even used what they're intended for. Like, police people have been shooting them at people, and you're not even supposed to do that. They're supposed to bounce off the ground. And then tear gas they don't even use in war. Like, it's against the law to use that and I read a couple tweets from people in the military that were like, if I used tear gas like the police did, or if I told my squadron or whatever to do that in war in Afghanistan, I would be arrested and like put up against a trial or whatever for doing that stuff. And it's so ridiculous that it's just being used willy-nilly with no sort of regard here in the United States against our own people.
Right. Well, and rubber bullets, they're not using them properly. They're shooting people directly with them. They're designed to be bounced off of something.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
I thought you were talking about the tear gas.
Yeah, before that I said police shot them at people.
I thought you meant they shot the tear gas at people.
Oh,
my bad.
No.
No, I misunderstood you. Gotcha.
Yeah, but yes.
It's messed up. Yeah.
You're not supposed to just shoot them at people.
Right.
And people have been going blind.
I think it shows a lack of training.
Yeah.
Lack of training, lack of education.
And just a lack of concern for people. Like, I think some of them must know.
This us versus them mentality, do you think, with the police?
A little bit, but I think a lot of that is because there's such a strong like brotherhood within the police. So like there's such a strong like we stick together thing. So I think that does cause cause a us against them kind of thing. And that also leads to like what we talked about before about how, police not being called out for stuff and not calling out their fellow people because it doesn't work.
Right.
Because they have such a strong we don't rat on our own. We stick up for our own first, and we stand behind our own no matter what. And it's like, what kind of ridiculous policy is that when people's lives are on the line?
Exactly. And police, I mean, the fact that they are armed to the teeth in the United States, the fact that you can, I mean, now it's still, though, it's a long process. If a cop murders somebody, it's still a long process, Yeah. Whereas I think in a lot of other countries, if that kind of thing happened, it would be a much
they're talking about with Breonna Taylor that they cannot fire them now because of the union agreements, and without any since there's no proof of who did it, or there's no like video. No one was wearing a body cam or anything. There's no video of the of what happened. I don't know if it's legally, but I guess it is legally. They're not allowed to fire them based off the contract. So the Kentucky, whatever city that was, police department, Louisville or whatever it was, put out a statement saying that even if we were to fire these police, there's a good chance that they're just going to be reinstated based off of the union agreements and stuff because we don't have the evidence to fire them right now. So it's like it's just in this loop where it's like I don't know. It's like it's just so ridiculous that this is how they treat human life. They treat it like some sort of like I don't know, like game almost.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like people are dispensable, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're really not. Yeah, it's super messed up.
Yeah.
But
All right, dude. Let's talk about some untranslatables.
I think you know what time it is, Jared. Mind if I get us started today? All right. So, if you tuned into one of our latest episodes, the Black Lives Matter and Racism in America episode, Jared mentioned a book he was reading. And it's a rather thick book, and it inspired this untranslatable.
Stamped from the beginning.
So here you go.
I think you got a neighbor to help him.
Oh, good.
Anyway.
So here we go. Okay, so this one is Leesehest.
Well, what language is this?
Danish.
Oh, okay.
Leesehest.
So is it reading haste?
Reading horse.
Reading horse. Oh, is it just like a bookworm, as we would call it?
Yeah, somebody who likes to read a lot. Exactly.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Our untranslatable would be bookworm for that one.
Mm-hmm.
This book is turning me into a bookworm. It's making me want to learn more about history. I was talking to our buddy Chris yesterday, and I was saying, I'm trying to get... I've never been a nonfiction reader, but I am trying to get more into nonfiction because my thought process is... where it's I want to learn something, and even though we in school it feels like we got an incomplete history lesson. It's not necessarily that we were lied to. It's just we were very selectively
and they can't
picked
teach you everything.
Right.
They really can't. But I think there's some important things they should
My
teach
thought
us.
is if I turn into a bookworm of history and stuff, I can put the stuff together, and I don't have to think people are lying to me. I'm just putting together a bunch of different aspects of history.
Yeah, you can definitely come to your own conclusions, which I think is a great thing. So what untranslatables do you have for me today, Jared?
I'm only going to give you one today, but I think this one is kind of fitting for the Karen episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's Igbo, which is a language spoken in some countries in Africa. I thought I wrote down exactly which countries they were, but I didn't. But I've done some Igbo ones before. I like these untranslatables, and it's Ara ga gaba nidi ara, and it means lunatics shall soon run mad.
Just means to go postal, go crazy.
Not go postal,
Get nuts.
'cause that means to shoot up a post office. Let me see what it means first. My computer's so far away. Okay. So it's just I guess that's kind of fair, actually. I'll give it to you.
What does it
It's
mean?
just surprising and crazy things will soon happen. Do you need to adjust where we're sitting?
No, we're good.
Okay,
We're good.
because you're
That
sweating.
sun is hot.
Yeah.
Sun is hot. That's okay, though. All right, my last one for you today, Jared, is Bulgarian. And it is Yachvam Metlata, which means to ride the broom.
To ride the broom.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean to get married?
No.
Okay.
No.
You know why I thought of that? Because jump the broom is
What's
like a
jump the broom?
classic, I think, Southern, maybe it's a black tradition, I don't know. But it's essentially after you get married, they jump over a broom.
Oh, really?
I don't really
Okay.
know what it's supposed to symbolize, but I'm sure it symbolizes something.
I would think so, yeah.
But to ride the broom, is it like someone's creepy? Or witch, or is it witch related?
Ooh, it is witch related.
So
can I give you a half ham horn?
Like someone's untrustworthy?
No.
Or
Think about
a liar.
The witch gets on her broom. She zooms off. Why is she getting on her broom and zooming off?
She's running away from...
She's mad. She's
She's
furious.
mad.
Yeah.
See, when I
furious.
think of witches getting on their broom and flying away, I think of their cackle. So maybe I don't think of... Yeah,
that a good
actually,
witch cackle?
that was actually pretty good. Talk about witches is actually a great
That would be an
transition into our
interesting.
character.
That's true, and we should do a witch episode maybe sometime. That would be
actually,
fun.
it's so funny you bring that up. I was reading about the Salem witch trials in Stamped from the Beginning, and they thought part of their claim for how these people turn into witches was black people. They said these people that were witches.
Scapegoat.
These people that were witches said they always saw these black creatures, and then they get I don't know what's the word when you get infected, but oh, I see what they were trying to carry in now. It's like a window.
Ooh.
They're holding a brand new window, like a fitting. Listen, I don't want to hang out with anyone that's this unconcerned about COVID. I'm going to be totally honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they're essentially saying that, and they said like these black creatures, and that's actually where sort of part of where this sort of black being denoted with dark and evil things came from the Salem witch trials, and they said that it was like these black people were like fooling, or like sort of taking over these people. But is that your mom?
No.
Oh, I thought she was saying like they're trying to get you to help. So it's there's more. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than that, but there is definitely an aspect of racism.
Yeah,
with witches,
sure.
which I was just reading. That I actually found hilarious. I was like, of course, everything's got to go back to racism somehow.
That's true.
Speaking of racism,
I was just going to say Karens. I think
so. First,
have a lot to do. Let's explain what a Karen is, Jared.
Yes, a Karen is someone that is known for, so it's gained popularity with the cell phone videos, because you can't really prove any of these things without video at this point, especially like if you're listening to a minority. I've said it before, people don't really listen to minorities, and it really takes a video to prove it. And it's not even just a fully minority thing, but there's definitely a lot. There's definitely a huge race aspect to this. But Karens are essentially people that are known for trying to inflict some sort of rule upon people that's either super frivolous, doesn't exist,
or just plain racist.
Or is just plain racist. And there's always this aspect of, can I speak to the manager? There's always them trying to call like an authority, whether it be the manager or a police officer. They're always trying to get some authority to like prove that they're right and like put this person into their place and be like, see, you're wrong. I can't
stand those people. I mean, I think the key to find a Karen, spot a Karen in their natural habitat is anything that's retail or customer service based, because they act incredibly entitled, they're impolite, they're rude.
Or, interesting enough, parks.
Yeah.
There are a lot of park-related Karens.
And I will say this too, Jared. I think a lot of Karens, the majority of Karens, or the stereotype, is targeting a lot of white women. And I hate to say it, but I think it's fair.
Yes.
I think it's fair. You know what? I think anybody can be a Karen, yes, but we see a lot of the Karens as
it definitely became it definitely became a thing because of like the sort of middle class rich white woman just like evoking her power upon people for no reason. And there are a few ways you can tell a Karen. Maybe a Blue Lives Matter apparel T-shirt or something.
Could be, yeah.
There's also, I mean, the original is the classic Karen haircut. Are you familiar with the Karen haircut?
The back is short, and you got like the slanted, the bangs are long.
And there's like the black streaks and like the blonde.
Blonde streaks, the highlights.
That is the classic Karen haircut.
That's also can I speak to your manager haircut.
Yes,
if you just Google that online, or you are bound to find plenty of memes, Karen-esque memes.
What would be another sort of pointer of a Karen? What would be like, oh, we got a Karen here?
I mean, I think if they're like very ready and willing to just whip out their phone and call the police or threaten to call the police. It's like, why do you got to escalate it that far?
Right.
Police officers
are for criminals.
Right. And this person is just selling water for like $1. And they're like an 8-year-old child.
Yes. Like you don't have the proper permits.
Right. Permit. What was it? Permit Patty? Wasn't that her name?
Yes.
Didn't she end up like losing her job and everything?
Maybe. I don't know. That was like a couple of years ago. See, that's actually another great point about Karens is that Permit Patty is a Karen, but a lot of these
Barbecue
people,
Becky, also a Karen.
They always make, I
would say,
they always make these sort of alliterations to talk about the Karens because they're always at some sort of event that's so wholesome or not a big deal, and they make deal out of it.
Yeah, they make it worse.
So I did not Google Karens, but in preparation for this, I just thought of all the Karens I could think of.
Oh, I'm sure plenty came to mind.
9.
Oh, great! All right, let's hear about them. Can we make this a game? Can
of course.
You see if I can guess some of these?
That's why I did this.
Okay, good.
So let me just go in order. Officer Karen, this is a new one. Have you heard about Officer Karen?
Oh, is this the blonde police officer that was crying in the McDonald's?
Yes, or McMuffin Karen.
Yeah,
that's also what they call her.
Oh my God! You know what? I can understand being upset that you're not getting your McMuffin, but the way that and why would you film it and put it online? Like that is such a weird the fact that we can film anything nowadays, Jared, is a great thing and a terrible thing at the same time.
And that's the thing is I think there's also this sort of another thing about a Karen is there's sort of expected empathy. I think she just expected.
They don't show empathy.
She doesn't even see like the irony and the hilarity of what's happening right now. She just expected that people will be like, "Oh, look at this poor police
lady.
officer.
Let's get her
so
McMuffin immediately." Yeah.
So she went to a McDonald's, and she had ordered something or whatever, and she made a point to say that she paid for it herself also. Right. And so sometimes
gotta make sure that $2 McDonald's McMuffin was paid for by yourself.
Sometimes if you go to McDonald's, they'll say, "Hey, your stuff's not ready. Can you pull over into this parking spot and we'll bring it out to you?" And she said it's been like 2 minutes, and because there was this whole sort of conspiracy about Shake Shack poisoning a police officer.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think it actually happened. I didn't read into it.
I didn't hear about this
I just saw headlines and stuff about it, that the people were afraid of like cops and stuff were afraid of Shake Shack because they thought they were being poisoned or something.
That's messed up.
So that's what she was saying. She was saying like, it's been 2 minutes and they saw I was a police officer. Who knows what they're doing to my food? People don't understand the fear that we go through every day. And she started doing like the fake Karen cry, the classic. This is not even a Karen thing, but this is such a classic white woman move. Is just busting out into tears, and we have a couple Karen examples of that too. Don't worry.
Yeah,
but she
and also, I mean, I've gotten pickup from McDonald's and drive-through. And sometimes it takes more than 2 or 3 minutes. It's not the end of the world.
So listen, Chad. I think I'm gonna have to give in to and we're gonna have to move this thing out.
Move
more.
it back a little?
Like my shirt is turning into. I'm close to taking off my shirt.
I'll bet.
Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Good. I'm a little dark, but that's okay. My own sanity from not being burned by the sun is more important.
Right.
So I believe that she legitimately
McMuffin Karen,
thought,
is that what we're calling her? Okay.
She or Officer Karen is what they called her, and she legitimately thought that she was going to get some real sympathy and like people that.
Can you imagine being pulled over by an entitled person like that?
Yeah,
or dramatic.
Well, it's actually funny that you bring that. I just thought of another one. Mm-hmm. There was another Officer Karen that I just thought of. By the way, before we go on to the other one I thought of, so 2 Officer Karens, both pretty recent, and I think they're both kind of like a lot of police officers I think are grappling with what they are doing, and they're like, yeah, people don't like you and people are afraid of you for a legitimate reason.
Yep. There's a lot of people that I would be afraid of if they had the kind of firepower that police officers have.
Sure. I don't remember what city she was in, but the local police station put out a statement saying, "Hey, she doesn't work for us."
What? Really?
I think she is some sort of officer of some sort, but she doesn't work for the local police station that I think she claimed to work for or something. Or maybe she just claimed to be in that city and be a police officer in that city or something. But she made a point. But the police station made a point to be like, "Hey, she doesn't work for us."
That's hilarious. You're a Karen on another level if they're like, "Yeah, she doesn't."
There was another Officer Karen that's clearly grappling with her job and the fact that people are afraid of her. She was driving around patrolling or whatever, and she saw this little black girl, and she got out of her car and started walking up to this mom. I think it was a mom and this little girl, and the mom started filming. The girl had her hands up as the police officer was walking up, but she was afraid. And the police officer was like, "Oh no, I'm just telling you." She came up and like, "I just want to tell you that we're not all bad, and that you don't have to be afraid of us." And I have a daughter. She's like, "How old are you?" And the girl was like 9 or something like that, or 10. And she's like, "I have a daughter your age too, and I would never want her to be afraid of trying to like be like we're not all bad." And it's like. It's no one is asking for this from you,
and people are terrifying the girl probably more.
Yeah, exactly. The girl was terrified, and then people were like, "Oh, that's bad parenting because you're raising your child to be terrified of police officers." And it's like we don't have to raise them to do this.
Right.
Like you turn on a television and it's
very easy to see.
You can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. All right, listen, this is not about police officers, this is about Karens. These are just 2 Officer Karens. These just happen to be police officers.
Let's get to some more Karens. Give me another Karen description.
Here's another classic. This is a modern day classic Karen, and these are going to be my explanations of them. Finger on the face Karen. Have you heard about the
I can see the video in my head.
Can you do the motion for the camera of what I mean by finger on the face Karen? Do you remember the picture? The classic picture.
What doesn't she just
No. Finger on her face. It's a picture. She's like,
I don't remember that one. No.
You haven't seen that woman? So this Karen,
what's her name? Well,
I don't know.
If the internet even works.
But literally type in here. I'll pull it up on my phone if or you could pull it up on your own phone. But if these are my explanations, by the way. But I bet you if you just Google finger on face Karen, I'll explain to you why you're looking that up. Let's see if that works. Yeah, no. See, I'll explain to you who this Karen was. But maybe you've seen the picture. So there was it was in San Francisco, I believe. So look up San Francisco Karen, Black Lives Matter. So that'll probably pull it up. So I believe it was San Francisco, and there was a guy. You seen this picture?
Yes.
Okay.
I just saw it the other day.
What's
the deal with this though? I don't really know the story behind it.
Okay, I'll tell you. So this picture has been a classic picture that's been going around. She's been memed up pretty hard.
Yep.
And I saw a couple people. This one woman, this one black woman was like, you can let her out if you want. Chad's dog is trying to come outside. This one black woman was like, this is what I see when I have sleep paralysis, and it was that woman holding her finger up to her face. But yeah, just make sure she doesn't knock over our camera. Chad's dog Prudy's out here with us. But anyway, so there was a guy writing Black Lives Matter in chalk on his front porch or some part of his house property, and she came out and was telling him or asking him, why are you writing this on private? She's like, I've lived here for a long time and I know who lives here. And she obviously doesn't because that guy lived there. And she's like, I called the police and there's a guy, maybe a significant other or something, in the background, like recording the video. Then there was obviously someone, I think the guy that she was talking to was recording video as well. And she's like, and she called the police on him for. Now, I didn't see the whole video, so I don't know if the police showed up. But she did say she called the police on him for writing Black Lives Matter on his own house.
That's ridiculous.
In chalk, first of all.
That's
also,
ridiculous.
I mean, first of all, you can do it in whatever you want. But it was written in chalk, so it's not even like, it's going to be gone in a week.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So that was another Karen. We'll go to some classic Karens, because I do have some more common ones. What was that? Oh, okay. I'm trying to remind myself of my own little codes I gave myself for these Karens, but I remember now. I'll go to some classic ones. I got to move around a little bit. Okay. Okay. Lemonade stand, Karen. Or was it water? Was it water?
Are you talking about that's Permit Patty, isn't it?
That was Permit Patty,
Yeah,
yes.
Permit Patty.
She was selling bottles of water.
It was water or
right.
lemonade. Either way,
I think it was
really
actually
doesn't
bottles
matter.
of water.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
She literally said that you need a permit to sell beverages.
She threatened to call the police.
Like she was some sort of legitimate business or something.
And then thankfully somebody filmed her. I think the girl's mom filmed her. And she threatened to call the police and all this stuff.
And that's so ridiculous too, because
and the internet will roast you if you know.
And that was a few years ago, so that was maybe before they were going viral so often. But it's like once this, I mean, maybe a lot of these people are older. A lot of these people are like 40s, 50s kind of age. So maybe they don't recognize the power of social media. Your dog is in a bliss right now.
Yep, she loves Jared. She's out here. Snap a picture of her real quick.
Okay, you guys follow us on Instagram. You have to see what is happening right now. Prudy looks like she is living on cloud 9. And Untranslatable podcast. Oh, my finger was in. I was like, why is this picture so bad?
Yep. She likes laying in the sun. We're getting our vitamin D today, Jared. That's for sure.
True. That's true.
But yeah, and so
she called the cops on a child for not having a permit, and it's so funny too because it's like lemonade. There's nothing. I mean, I think it was water bottles, but there's nothing more American than like a child selling like lemonade or some sort of beverage that really no one wants, but they just like giving a kid $1. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, you can't just walk up, be weird and kind of creepy, to just be like, "Hey, here's $1." You know,
and it's so ridiculous. Yeah. It's like, what do you mean? Like the permit? It's like, why are you even doing? Like, and that's why it's so clearly not like it's so clearly not about that.
Right. Well, and that's the thing with Karens is that there's always, I think, some underlying issue that bubbles up that we don't know about.
Yeah.
That will cause them to go full Karen mode.
They always have to it always feels like they have to prove that they know something that you don't.
Right.
They're like, I know more than you.
I think one thing I wanted to mention too about Karens today, Jared, is Karens, I think, are some of the most entitled people out there.
Yeah.
I think it's good to occasionally stand your ground and not get walked on by people, but at the same time to be aggressive like a lot of these Karens are.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of these Karens are the aggressor, and not physically aggressor, but they're the ones approaching people.
Even the passive aggression too. It's not even just the physical, but it's just the... I think that statement of, hey, I'm calling the police on you, especially as if you're a white woman calling police on like a black person, it's just ridiculous.
You have to know what you're doing.
Right. At this point, do you live under such a big rock that you don't know what's happening right now? Like, it's unreal.
It's almost like, the manager or the police officer is their weapon. And it does seem like no matter what the case is, they always just have this automatic like, oh, well, this manager or police officer is automatically going to side with me. And I think, especially when we're talking police officer, a lot of the time, that is going to be the case, is the police officers then are going to run in hot, assuming that this Karen is some sort of victim. And, it's like shoot first, ask questions later, or like tackle them to the ground first and handcuff them, ask questions later. And then it's like, all right, by that point, the police officer has no interest in seeing your video right away. They want to and so it's like, that is their weapon.
Right.
So the classic one that was used for the new Aunt Karen logo for the, instead of Aunt Jemima, that is also, what's her name? What was her name?
Who?
The Otterbox Karen. She was like another classic Karen. So her situation, this is there we go. Yes. Thank you. This is something about Chad's dog. She comes outside for like 5 minutes, and then she's like, it is hot as hell out here. And then she immediately goes back inside every time. So, yes, it was Barbecue Becky. And that was a similar thing. She was essentially another permit-related thing. Because I think, families were, there was a family, I think it was a black family probably. I believe it was. I'm not even going to say probably. Probably. Could you not put that there? It's kind of in the, and you could sit on it or something. And these people were in a park, and those parks have those nasty grills that you can use. Oh no, they didn't have grills.
The communal grills. They brought their own.
They brought their own grill, which is the good move because those communal grills are disgusting to me. Sorry,
they're a little gross. You're good. You're good.
So she called the cops on them saying they don't have a permit to like have a party there or like have a large gathering.
Is that even a thing? I mean, I get if it's a large gathering, but I don't think it was that large of a gathering.
But
right?
I mean.
Either way, it's
clearly
still
there's
ridiculous.
enough space on the park for other people. Like they're not, they didn't take over the park so no one else could use it. And how normal is it for a family and to show up at a park and maybe if all your family's kind of close, you invite your extended family as well and say, hey, we're gonna meet at this park and hang out and
have a party.
Like that's what a park is for.
Right, right. Well, I've seen some videos of Karens going off on people for playing music at the park. Which, now, if it's really, really loud, I can understand to ask somebody to turn it down.
Yeah.
But to go up to somebody and be like, you need to stop playing your music. This is a public place. I mean, if you're in a park, go somewhere else in the park.
Sure.
Exactly. I don't know.
I honestly wish I had a little bit more Karen in me. I wish I could stand up for myself a little bit. I've been in especially movie theaters. I've been in a lot of situations where I'm like, this is egregious. Whether it be talking, I went to a couple months before quarantine. I went to a movie theater that has like the full meals, and these women were eating like a full meal and they couldn't really see it because it was dark. So they had their cell phone light on, trying to see their plate, and they weren't
should
really
have like a little light. in the table
that would be a
or
good
something.
idea.
Yeah,
And they had no control over the light, so it kept
was
on
just
like
going
flashing in
everywhere.
my
Oh,
face,
God.
and I'm like, really?
I would have smacked that phone. No,
And I so wanted to say something because I was like, this is egregious, and I didn't. I just took it.
right.
Um,
Well, I think you probably just took it because you're thinking about, is it worth the confrontation? Is it worth it? You
Right.
know?
Exactly. Exactly. It's like
And
I don't
sometimes
feel like
it's not.
Like,
what
and
if
then-
they're very Karen-esque? Then you got
Right.
quite an argument. On
Exactly.
Your hand.
Exactly. It's like, now I'm not trying to get into an argument, but what you're doing seems so obviously egregious to me. But the fact that it doesn't shock you to be egregious means that like me saying something probably won't help.
Right.
But these are also egregious things that are happening. I'm not
for
calling
sure.
the cops on someone having a picnic.
Right. Yeah, that's just unreal. I mean,
right.
basic things, but let's talk about Karen reform, because I think
I have more, by the way, but we can talk about Karen reform.
Let's talk about Karen reform, because we're hitting the hour mark pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah, and we got more to talk about, more to do.
Okay.
This
sure,
episode.
Sure.
But yeah, I think there's crazy amounts of Karens, and I think a way to, because I think it's a balance, Jared. You know, like we just talked about, standing up for yourself. You know, there's a line. You know,
Yeah.
Is it worth you really getting in an argument with somebody? Is it not? And I think how you handle it too. Like you said,
Sure.
don't be calling the cops on people if they're having a picnic.
Yeah.
What do you think would be some ways if you were a Karen to de-Karen yourself?
To de-Karen yourself, get a modern haircut.
Okay.
And I kind of stand by that because I think there is something to
Your image and the way you represent yourself?
Yeah, you won't immediately be like there are definitely, and that's the stereotypical Karen haircut. There are a few others where I'm like, this person might be a Karen. But I think it's just like, but I think it's also go to a more modern hairstylist. Maybe you'll get, because the hairstylist, a barbershop is sort of a community. It's a great place for conversation. Upgrade your conversations, while you upgrade your do. Realize that this Karen cut hasn't been cool since the early 2000s. And we've moved on from that.
That's fair.
I would also say, let people live their life. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm honestly trying to think of something that's realistic.
I think, right. And I hate to say it, I don't even know if the haircut's realistic. They're not
talk to
going to
people.
go.
Like, talk to people as if they're people.
Right.
Karens always come in so hot.
They do.
Like, they're always coming
do.
in hot with like you're doing something wrong.
And you know why I think, or a way they can solve that coming in hot, is you just need a slight attitude adjustment, and you need to breathe a little bit.
Yes.
And just try to be more patient.
Think about if you were in that situation.
Right.
Have you never been at a gathering in public with a lot of family members? And you know, it's like, have you never? It's like, just think about, is this something you would do? Now, maybe this Karen wouldn't write Black Lives Matter on her porch, but maybe you'd write All Lives Matter on your porch. You know.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
But my point is, I don't want to say what difference does it make, because I think obviously Black Lives Matter is a much more useful statement than All Lives Matter. But in the eyes of the chalk that is being used, literally speaking, when you're putting chalk onto cement, there's no difference.
That's true. Yeah.
In that sense. So would you be okay with like a child or your child, you know, writing chalk on you know, the ground or something like that? And then also it's just like, don't jump to conclusions. It's like you claim that you know this neighborhood, for example, or you claim you know, but it's like you clearly don't know that this person lives here. You clearly don't know that this person is not breaking a rule.
Well, I think the issue with Karens too is a lot of times they get caught in their lies.
Yes.
You know, they get caught in their lies and their exaggerations, and then when they're checked on it, that's when they go full Karen mode, I think, in a lot of cases.
That's a very good point. Because then there's no going back, because the hardest thing to do is admit that you were wrong. And just
especially
say,
if
I'm
it's
sorry, and walk
some
away.
stranger you meet out in the street or in a store. Can you imagine where someone's just like, no, you lied, and then what do you do at that point? You either say, yes, you're right, which I guess is the right thing to do, the more respectable thing to do, but people aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
That's the harder thing to do. People take the easy way.
Especially when I do think there is sort of like a racial component here, especially when you're getting checked by like a black person.
Oh, definitely.
I feel like they feel extra some type of way, like how dare this?
Right.
Like it's like no, I'm right. What are you talking about? And then once you dig in, there's no going. I saw this male Karen on Twitter yesterday that was talking about how that was like getting at like these kids for not being they're not supposed to be in this neighborhood. It was like a gated community, and then like they're like, no, my grandpa lives right there, and they're like, no, you guys are like, I think they moved a car for him because he was trying to get out. It's like, no, you guys are getting in the way of this community. He's like, no, we moved the car for you, and then we're like, but my. And then the grandpa came out and he's like, "What's happening here?" And it's like, "Is this guy yelling at you?"
That's
and he's like
awkward.
to the kids, he's like, "Go inside." And it's like, "Uh-oh."
Right.
And then you can see like the male Karen sort of like back away and cower.
Right.
And it's like, well, now you're in it. Now you gotta stick to your. It's
Yep.
like, now can you admit that? Like, look, dude, I'm sorry, this won't happen again. Can you say that?
Right.
And I think so many. This is not even a
lot of
racial
people
thing.
can't.
In
That's a
general,
hard thing for
people
people to
cannot
say.
say that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, and I think that could do a wonder for Karens in general. If there was a video of a Karen redemption where the Karen's
that's
like,
true.
"Oh, whoa, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you live there. That's my
now,
bad."
how do you feel about Karens doing that?
But the problem is, especially when it comes to the "you don't belong here," is it's so much just more than this person's not supposed to be in this neighborhood.
Right.
That is super racial.
Oh, for sure.
So
and you can't just say an
there's
easy
no
sorry.
Yeah, there's
for
no
that
sorry,
one.
and
Yeah.
then we just pretend that didn't happen.
Right.
Because it's like, what do you mean I don't like? So stuff like that. I think that's more of like that's you got to take a bigger step than just saying sorry.
Right.
But I don't know. I maybe if at the for like the park patty, maybe it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Then you leave and you come back and you bring like a 30-pack of beer and like some paper plates or something.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Or like,
Although I will say this, I have seen some videos of people who have tried to kill Karens with kindness. There's a good alliteration for you.
Oh, yeah.
To kill some Karens with kindness. And I don't think it always works, but I think it's an interesting strategy.
I think that the Karen sometimes it comes off as like sarcasm and like
Oh, that's true. And then
like
it escalates more.
and then maybe it comes off as the other person being the passive aggressive rather than the Karen
Right.
one who came in for no reason.
Right. But I think if you can
Shoot,
tell
I forgot
that
sorry, go ahead. No, you're fine.
I think if you can tell that people are being genuine, then I think I'm assuming too many things here. Jared. We are talking about Karens. We are talking about Karens. You had some more. Let's talk about a few more.
All I would say is my main Karen reform would be stop when you see a camera in your face, because at this point you should understand
Yep.
that
It's gotten bad.
you guys are going viral.
Yep.
There's been a whole slew of there was actually, did you see this one recently? I'll get to this one after. There's this one recently. There was the same Karen had a double sighting within like a day or two.
Oh no.
Going after Asian people. So there was
Oh
this.
jeez.
one
Was this
Karen-
right when the pandemic started?
No, this was a week or two ago.
Okay.
Maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. There was this one Asian woman, and she was doing she does like workout videos or something, and I think she was in some public area, and she was doing like this sort of move on steps where you just some exercise on steps, and the Karen walked behind her and walked up the steps, and you could see her in the background because she was doing a video, and then
What?
I mean, it's fine, but it is saying that my camera's getting close to too hot out here, but
Uh-oh.
it's still going. It's still recording. I just see I've never seen this little temperature thing in the corner.
Uh-oh. What do you think? Should we keep going?
I'm going
or
to keep
should
going
we-
until it stops recording. And we're almost
Okay.
done with this episode anyway.
Sure.
So she was doing this workout, and then so she was going back down the stairs later, and she got mad at the woman, saying like, "What do you like?" It's like, "Why are you blocking this whole step? Well, all these steps, blocking the entire steps." And apparently you couldn't see, but apparently there were multiple steps you could have gone down like right next to
Okay.
it. And she chose the one that she was doing
Of course
the
she
exercise
did.
on.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, there's a step right next to it that you could have gone down. Like, why did you go
Right.
right here?" And she's like, and then it immediately turned like, "You don't belong here." It's like, why don't you go back to China or whatever? I don't. Then it just turned racist immediately. And so there was that one, and then there was one with the same woman where she was wearing the same clothes like a day or two later, but
Oh,
it might have been
geez.
the same day, where
Okay.
she was like yelling at this Asian dude in a parking lot and talking, and she was yelling like Asian stereotypes about him being a terrible parker while she was literally parked in between the lines.
Oh man.
And he wasn't.
Right.
And it's like
That doesn't
and he's like, "What are you
surprise
talking
me
about?"
one
I was like,
bit.
he's like, "You're in between," and it was just more like it just turned racist right away. But she was just was trying to find the slightest reason to approach these people. And I think that was sort of like a racist, like coronavirus related Karen move.
Yeah, that's messed up.
There's been a huge slew of well, let me see another one. Oh, there was another permit patty related one that I saw recently. There is this Karen that came up to this woman, and the kid was her kids were driving around in one of those little Power Wheel things, like the little electric Jeeps. And
this is a funny one.
She asked the parent if the kids have a license for it, and she's like, "It's a toy."
Right, it's straight up a toy that doesn't even go 2 miles per hour.
Yeah, she's like, but they need a license to drive this. And she's like, "Have you never seen one of these things before?"
Right, they definitely don't need a license to drive that.
Why it's just trying to find like the slightest thing to like be like this person's doing something wrong. It's like, what do you mean a license for like 4-year-olds to go around in a thing that doesn't go more than 3 miles per hour? It's so ridiculous.
I don't think you could get run over by that thing.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
I don't think it has enough horsepower if you were laying down. Maybe it does.
Yeah, it would stop.
I don't know. Yeah. That's so crazy.
There's been a huge slew of the anti-mask Karens too recently.
Yeah, and I think that's a worthy type of Karen to kind of shout out and tell them that they need to make some changes.
Both male and female. But there was a hilarious one. I believe it was a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods or something. I think it was Whole Foods. And this Karen was talking about how she has some sort of condition where she can't wear.
Oh yeah, I saw that, and she couldn't. Yeah, and went to talk to the manager.
Classic call the manager move, and the guy was like, "All right, I'll call the manager." And they offered to do the shopping for her. She's like, "No, how could I let you do the shopping for her?"
It's very easy.
I don't want you knowing what. She literally said, "I don't want you knowing what groceries I buy. That's my privacy." And
they literally can see when they scan it and give you a receipt.
Also, what are you buying at a grocery store?
Right.
Anything that's in a grocery store is meant to be sold. They're not going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe." No one cares.
Can't believe you bought.
But it's obviously it's not about that in the slightest.
Right.
It's like it's some sort of fight against I don't know what, but. And then it was so funny. You saw that video. So over the speakers they were playing some Michael Jackson song, and the guy that called the manager
was like dancing.
He was dancing in the background,
as he should be. And that's so great.
She was so offended. She's like, "You think this is funny?" He's like, "A little bit."
Right. That guy deserves a raise.
Oh my god!
You think that's funny? Yeah, a little bit.
And then did you see the Karen that showed up to a grocery store wearing a suit of masks, covering every part of her body but her face? So she had like a mask she made a bikini essentially out of a mask, and then she had it like covering her eyes, trying to make some sort of statement, but everything was covered except for her nose or face, and she went to a grocery store like that.
Oh, ridiculous. I mean,
she thinks she's the artist Karen.
I guess that guy's a very artist Karen type of thing. Yeah, man, it's just so crazy.
Yeah,
so crazy.
All right, we can keep going all day, but I think people get the point.
Yep.
There are male Karens too. There have been a lot of masked male Karens. I've seen a few Black Lives Matter related male Karens ripping down signs. I saw one in Philly, actually at a place that I recognized, ripping down signs.
That's a bummer.
I mean, I've walked around. I'm a big walker. I've seen all of Philly, so wasn't really that. Well, it was kind of close to me, but anyway, so he was like ripping down signs saying like, "Oh, I pay taxes in this neighborhood. I don't want to see this junk up here."
That's so stupid.
And it's like, who do you think? And the person's like, I live here too.
Right.
And he's like, "This is public property," and it's like, what you're saying is proving why they can't put it up. At the same time, it's proving why you can rip it down in some weird way. I don't know. And then there was another one in Bethesda, Maryland, I believe it was. Did you hear the biker male Karen?
No. So
this guy, a little white girl actually. So white people should get extra sad about it. She was putting up Black Lives Matter signs, and this biker was like harassing. It was a family. It was like a mom, dad, and this little girl. And he walked this little girl ripping the signs out of her hand, and the mom's like, "Don't touch my daughter." And then he with his bike.
Oh, I did see that.
With his bike, he was like using it as to run down like the husband that was chasing that was filming it, and he ran him down into the woods and sort of like knocked him. It was like so ridiculous.
Yeah,
and it turns out that
crazy.
he was an ex-police officer.
He was.
And I think he had some he actually got arrested. So they found him and he got arrested. But there's been a lot of it's a lot of a common theme I find is these people trying to be like, these are my freedoms to do this, and you're infringing on my freedoms, or I have the right to do this, and it's but you missed the obvious contradiction that the people you're talking to have the same right that you do, but they don't see it like that way.
Yeah, I think they view themselves as better than
Yeah.
others a lot of times.
Yeah.
We're all equal at the end of the day.
You know, you hear it a lot when it's like, you hear it a lot in the undertones of you don't belong in this neighborhood or I pay taxes here. All that sort of stuff is sort of undertones for like this is my neighborhood and like you don't belong here kind of.
Definitely.
I mean, some of them are obvious,
Yeah.
but then it's like, why are you telling me you pay taxes? I pay taxes too.
Right, we all pay taxes. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Well, Jared, should we talk about our song of the pod today? I think it's very
Yes.
fitting for today's episode. It is originally by the group The Guess Who, but this one is
I
a
didn't know
cover by Lenny Kravitz, great guitar player, singer, and rock artist.
Yep.
American Woman. And tell me, Jared, why? Tell, I guess, the listeners, why did we pick that song today?
So first we were trying to think of a song of the pod that a Karen-related song, which is harder than one might think. And you almost kind of jokingly brought up American Woman, and we were playing it. And I was listening to the lyrics, and I was like, I mean, this is kind of fits perfectly. Because he's like, American woman, get away from me. America. Like, he's essentially saying,
A lot of Karens are American women.
he's essentially telling, an American woman to leave him alone and to get away from him, and you're annoying me.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, nothing is more fitting than this for this episode. So, and Lenny Kravitz is such an interesting guy because he's gone through phases of being like a legit loved star. I mean, he's always been that, but he's also for a bit was kind of a parody of himself. Like people he was kind of a joke for a bit. But I think he's worked through that and he's back to, now he's no longer like famous. I mean, he's still famous, but he's no longer like in the limelight like he used to be. I think people have left him alone a little bit. But
fantastic guitar player though, man.
Yeah,
I've
I mean
always
he's
liked
undeniable.
Lenny Kravitz's stuff. Yeah, it's definitely
it's
a
a
fitting
little
song.
too like his style never really appealed to me too much. It was a little too shreddy for me. I don't.
Really?
Is that the right word?
You think so?
Like a little too distorted or something. I don't know. But
Maybe. Yeah.
It
Okay.
never like stuck with me.
When I hear shreddy, I think of like really fast guitar playing.
Oh no, he wasn't. No, I guess he's not fast. So maybe it's more like the level of distortions that he used. I don't.
And
really
you
like.
did mention that when we were listening to the song.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they do use that effect a little bit here and there for different things, Lenny Kravitz included. But yeah, it's a good song. I think not many people want Karens to be around them. So yeah, it's a good song. Check it out on our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast, at the Song of the Pod playlist.
The anti-Karen anthem.
That's right. That's right.
Betcha.
So Jared, I do have a foreign word of the pod, but
Okay.
it's coming a little bit out of left field, maybe right field. I don't know.
Yeah, how dare
Tune
you.
into our last episode if you want to hear about lefties and
You're
righties.
part of the problem.
That's right. Yeah, I guess so, Jared. Anyways, my foreign word of the pod today is German. It's Deutsch,
Okay.
and it is ungeduldig.
Okay. So unapologetic.
Impatient.
Impatient. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Or impatient, impatiently, yeah.
But
Geduld is patience.
okay. All right. So how?
Because I think a lot of these Karens are just...
Yes.
Obviously, some of them, yes, the problems are racist or otherwise, but I think a lot of these people are just impatient.
Yeah.
If they just waited a moment and thought about their actions before they did them and were a bit more patient, maybe we would have less Karens out there.
Yeah. So quick to react.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Jumping to conclusions, making all sorts of crazy assumptions that could then be lies, which then cause the Karen to escalate more. It's dangerous, man. Karens are dangerous.
I'm with you. Karens are dangerous, and we didn't talk about Amy Cooper, who is the dog park Karen.
Oh, she's a terrible one.
And that's the thing about Karens. I'll just talk about her real quick. She knew exactly what she was doing because she was in the park, and she was in the wrong. There was this black guy that's a bird watcher, and he was looking at birds. And he was
just minding his own business. And didn't he ask her to put on a leash?
Yeah, he asked her to put her dog on a leash, which is the rule in the park. And she freaked out, and she's like, "Stay away from me! Get away from me! Leave me alone!" And she's like, "Stop harassing me." He's like, "I just asked you to put your dog on a leash." And that's the thing. Once again, he the entire time was just talking calmly and normally.
He was being
He's
fine.
like, "Hey, can you put your dog on a leash?" And he's like, "I'm not aggressive. I'm just asking you to put your dog." Like he was just talking normally, and she just kept escalating her emotions.
I think a lot of these Karens, I think a lot of these Karens too have never grew up as very coddled and spoiled children and were never told no.
Yeah.
I think we did an episode all about saying no.
Yeah.
And I think, and sometimes too, when you're not being told no, that also gives you other thoughts of entitlement of I can tell other people what to do or stuff like that. And
I know what's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can't tell me.
Yeah, and even if you are in the wrong, it does feel like a real slight to be like, whoa, what you're telling me I'm doing something wrong?
Right.
It's like, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
And then so she's the perfect example of the Karen, because she literally is spelling out to everyone what I think a lot of black people in these racial situations see what's happening. Mm-hmm. She just spelled it out for the white people that are like, no, she's not racist. She's just, she's just an idiot. It's like, well, look at this woman. This is how we see most of these Karens, where she's like, I'm going to tell the police that a African American man is harassing me.
Right. And then the police come in there are already expecting a hostile situation.
Yeah, they're already expecting
terrible.
An aggressive black guy.
Right.
And he, like a lot of, he was like, obviously bigger than her. So it's just like this automatic victim mentality that is already put on these Karens for no reason. Yeah. And it's just like, you're spelling out what, like, the subtlety of what all these other Karens are doing, where it's like, I'm going to stick the police on you because I know what happens when the police are called and they think it's a aggressive black guy or something like that.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
it's not good.
And it's like, you know exactly what you're doing.
Exactly. Well, let us know what your thoughts are on Karens at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com.
You betcha.
Let us know if you've had any Karen experiences before, run-ins with Karens, and how you've dealt with those. Mm-hmm. Also, check out our Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1, for all sorts of tweets and other great stuff. Check out our Instagram page for clips, pics of this beautiful scenery.
Spread a little love.
Our podcast official mascot, which is my parents' dog, Prudy. So check that out on Instagram, and please let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania. Play that music, Jared. There we go. Don't come in too hot like a Karen, Jared. We can't be coming in way too hot. Oh, that's right. You can't talk when you're holding it up like this. I feel bad. I can just say whatever.
How about you just... Well, I can still play it in the background like this. But I really wish you would just be okay with not having the music and let me play it in the background after.
That's fair. I kind of like it.
I actually don't mind it because like this, you can't hear it and it's kind of nice. So.
Actually, yeah, why don't we just do this? It doesn't really matter.
That's true.
For the audio's sake, I just need to hear it a little bit. So this is...
Dude, that was only some of the Karens too. I could have named so much more.
Oh, I'll bet.
You
had 9 Karens. You probably named 3 or 4.
There was also the. Actually, I named most of them. Now I think about it. But yeah, that was all just off the top of my head.
Right.
There's so many of them.
Too many, man. Too many.
I don't even expect there not to be Karens. Like obviously it must have been going on forever. But I just don't understand the cell phone part of it. It's like, how do you not realize that you're going to go viral? Like you're almost 100% going to go viral.
Yeah. You would think, too, that the cell phones would... Once again, we said this, I think, a few episodes ago. You would think the cell phones would deter people from doing something. It doesn't.
No.
It really doesn't. There were so many things that I thought, oh, yeah, if all cops have body cams, we'll be more safe. Nope.
Yeah.
If all people can just film stuff, we'll be fine. Nope. Clearly.
Yeah, people double down, especially for the parents situation. People double down. But yeah, I mean, the cops is like... Why is there an on and off switch on these things?
Speaking of on and off switches, I think I'm going to stop recording.
Yeah, we should also give our devices a break.
Yeah.